We're talking a lot about your phrase of employment to enjoyment. I think it's really important for our audience to understand that, because it's clear from my standpoint that the government is really pushing a lot of responsibility onto the typical American to take responsibility for their retirement. And maybe let's start off talking about some recent legislation like the Secure Act and the big, beautiful bill, and that, it's up to everybody to kind of take responsibility for their own savings rate.
Well, what a nice way to warm me up here for this podcast.
Right deep into legislation. I like that.
Well, first of all, thank you. It's always a pleasure to be with you. And again, thank you to all that are dialing in and listening. And please know that we might be strong in our opinions, but we also love feedback. So please share your thoughts and anything that you'd like us to cover as a topic. I think that would be a great thing. Don't you think so, McG?
Yeah. Ping us and we will throw anything out there.
Terrific. Well, legislation. So I'll refer to it as triple B. Hopefully your bond rating is higher than that. But in any event, and I'm not a political person whatsoever, but really the big, beautiful bill really didn't change much of anything on the savings front. And I think what we should concentrate on is the Secure Act, and really dig more deeply into that, because there's so many things in that, and maybe you could speak to that, Mike, on what we'll call a Secure Act 2.0, and what you're seeing with respect to, like, there were these things, stretch IRAs, and that's evolved, and I'm going to have a little fun play on the acronym of QLAC. So just want our audience to kind of lean in a little bit. But before then, why don't you share what you're seeing?
Yeah, I think that we're seeing a continued force of taking responsibility of your own savings. I think that was clear with the big, beautiful bill, Triple B, that I think when you take a look at any piece of legislation, you're always looking for unintended consequences, or what did it not do? And it did not change any of the levels of savings, which you've already pointed out. And that's really important. More importantly, I think that with Secure Act 2.0, which is more focused in on qualified funds and retirement, it did a lot of things with indexing of thresholds that had not been properly indexed for inflation. We talked about inflation a couple episodes ago, and kind of the hidden tax to everyone's qualified plans and everyone's retirement plans. But it also did take away the stretch provision on qualified funds. And so when we talk about some of the risk of qualified funds, losing it, giving it to charity, giving it away to others, or spending it, how do you pass it on from a legacy standpoint and do so effectively? That was greatly reduced, so that you really only have about 10 years. That gives some other options that we're going to be talking about in future segments. But the reality here is that the loopholes are certainly closing, but that doesn't mean that it's not a need for planning, because planning, and then more importantly, longevity planning to take that longevity risk off. And longevity isn't just running out of money, but it's healthcare costs, it's long-term care, it's the legacy taxes to the next generation. How do we mitigate all of that? And how do we get that to the next generation? I think the Secure Act began addressing that, but I think it was also very clear of like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. American, we're going to give you some tools, but you've got to leverage them and you've got to use them. And that's where I think that our industry as financial advisors can be hugely, hugely impactful to middle America, not only just high net worth. So that's kind of my take on it.